We're here at the Nye County Sheriff's Office, and as we reported last night, there has been arrest of 29-year-old Sharon Broadhead. We're going to speak to Sheriff Tony DeMeo.
No, that's correct. Yesterday, Sharon Broadhead was requested to come to the Nye County Sheriff's Office by the Fire Marshal, Mike Kolpak, and Detective Joe Close. They arrived at the sheriff's around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and they did an interview. And during the course of the interview, certain information came to our attention, which resulted in the arrest of Sharon Broadhead. As it says in the press release, we had information that there were several fires at that location. One was a complete room burnout. Others were papers that the kid would put into the wall and set that on fire. One was a pillowcase that was set on fire. And it came to our attention when that came to our attention, we looked at our calls for service. We contacted of course, the fire marshal knew that there was no other previous calls of fire at that location, which kind of troubled us because when you have a one-room burnout, the fire can spread. And that's why they call it extension. You remember the fire department always looks for areas of extension of a fire. You set a fire inside a wall as well, there could be extensions there as well. And the fact of the matter is that Ms. Broadhead was aware that one of the children had a habit of setting fires, did not report the fires to the Nye County Sheriff's Office or to the Plum Valley Fire Rescue. And other information came to our attention, which resulted in her arrest for child neglect and abuse, and of course the four charges of manslaughter based upon the fire.
When you mean a one-room burnout, completely burned that room was?
That's what my understanding was. Of course, the fire marshal and the fire chief have more information on it than we do. But based upon an interview by the fire marshal and by the interview conducted by the Nye County Sheriff's Office, we found criminality in reference to the fire, and subsequent to that, Ms. Broadhead was placed under arrest.
Do we know how that fire, when that was set a few months ago, was actually extinguished?
We don't know. I don't know. The fire marshal is aware of that. The detective is aware of that. That's part of the case that we're going to be presenting to the district attorney's office. I notified the DA yesterday, Brian Kunze, when I was aware of the arrest and the charges that Ms. Broadhead was facing.
And there's mention in the press release about her lighter, that she only usually had one in her purse and that lighter was not found. We think that the child lit the sofa on fire?
Well, I'm going to leave that to the fire marshal, make the press release on that, his determination. He's in charge of the fire investigation. We're taking control and charge of the criminal investigation. He's still waiting for tests to come back. And we're gonna wait until the fire marshal has a complete report before there's going to be any comment from the Nye County Sheriff's Office on the cause of fire, and as to anything that is related to the fire investigation. I remember talking to Scott Lewis a couple of days ago that him and the fire marshal had to actually hand picture the debris. It was quite an extensive scene, and it took them a while before they can actually come to a conclusion of that investigation. But right now they're still waiting for some tests to come back.
And there's mention also in the press release about medication found on her master bedroom dresser. Do you think that that might have something to do with the fact that they were sleeping, or is that related at all?
We're going to wait until the test results come back. Remember, we're also doing a forensic investigation. My medical examiner has done that forensic investigation. We're going to wait until the results of that forensic investigation are completed and are turned into the Nye County Sheriff's Office.
Is there going to be an autopsy?
It was already an autopsy. All the 5 victims were autopsied by our forensic investigator.
Was there any tests done on Sharon Broadhead?
We conducted a complete autopsy. Remember, as a coroner, my job is to determine the exact cause of death and report that correctly to the state. So we're going to make sure before we turn in a complete autopsy report and complete report on this, is that we're going to have all the facts to that.
But on Sharon Broadhead herself being on medication or anything?
On Sharon Broadhead, I'm not aware of any tests that were conducted. She was a fire survivor. Our concern right now is the cause of death to the 4 individuals that lost their life in the fire, and the families have a right to know the cause of death. I mean, there's a lot of emotions going through this, and reference to the loss of life. The families are going through a lot right now, and I know that the arrest of Sharon Broadhead is adding to that. Now we empathize with that, but the fact of the matter is that we discovered a crime that was committed based upon the interview and based upon evidence that the fire marshal had, and it was shared with the Nye County Sheriff's Office, and we did our job. And I know it's tough for people to understand that, but it's something we had to do. What I'm going to clear up right now is the fact of this issue with CPS. There was never information to the Nye County Sheriff's Office in reference to any investigation in CPS. What came to my attention was one of the family's members mentioned that they had contacted CPS. Their involvement in this family and is unknown to us. Like I said, our job was to investigate assist the investigation with Fire Marshal, to assist the Fire Marshal in the interview with Sharon Broadhead. And of course, Anthony Broadhead was there as well. They cooperated with the investigation, and subsequent we placed her under arrest. There was nothing that came to our attention at that time that Anthony Broadhead did anything wrong.
And that he wasn't living with her at the time, so even in the times that the other fires were set, he wasn't living there at that time either.
If we had any idea that Anthony Broadhead had any knowledge or was culpable in anything, it would be a different outcome. But right now, the investigation is proved to us that Sharon Broadhead was aware of it, and also Crystal Smiley was not there as a babysitter. I know that's a lot of confusion with that. She's a family friend of Sharon, but she wasn't there in a babysitter capacity. The responsibility for the care of those children fell directly on the mother of the children, that was Sharon Broadhead.
Yeah, we've been told that she was not, in fact, a babysitter as well. Do we know why Crystal, because her father was a battalion chief and had lots of fire knowledge, stayed in the home?
I don't know. I know, there was a 911 tape. We're not releasing that. But I can tell you this, that from the information that I became aware of, what Crystal was concerned about the welfare of the children. And it's unfortunate that there was a loss of life, and that the rescuers, of course, the off-duty firefighter from the Nevada, the NNSS, 3 deputies from Nye County Sheriff's Office, 2 on duty, 1 off duty, and another individual tried to rescue those people. They weren't successful. So, and of course, we had the dispatch who had to listen to the calls of Crystal Smiley, asking for help, and of course being concerned for the children. So there's a lot of things that right now there's a lot of people dealing with a lot of things right now, especially the family who lost the children and the loved ones. And we're a small community, and this would affect even a large community at this, and we're very sympathetic to that. We did our job, and right now our prayers are for the family, to get through this, and it's going to be very difficult for them. We understand that.
Do we know that Child Protective Services, even though they were contacted, they never actually made a visit to the home as of that time?
I can't speak to Child Protective Service. I know that the Nye County Sheriff's Office, we researched the calls of service and referenced that, and any kind of children issues, there were none on our records. I don't know the outcome of any family member or anybody else contacted CPS on that side, and CPS, conduct an investigation. That would be up to CPS, but they're a good organization, and they do a good job. So I'm sure if anything came to their attention that needed to be investigated, they would have investigated that.
And $30,000 bail been placed on Sharon Broadhead at this point. Has she posted bail?
I didn't check in this morning. The bail is actually $35,000. I corrected that last night when I looked at the charges and the bail that was set. It was put down by the deputy. That was correct, $35,000 bail.
When will she be seen by the judge?
If she's released from custody, that date could be set. That day will be set by the detention release. If she still is in custody tomorrow, she'll be in front of the judge tomorrow to be read the charges against her, and the judge will make a determination whether to keep bail as it is, raise the bail, lower the bail, or OR.
And is the investigation ongoing still?
The investigation is still ongoing. We're still waiting for the complete autopsy report. We made the arrest based on information that came to our attention during the interview with the fire investigator, fire marshal, and the detective. And we're still waiting for the outcome of the complete investigation by the fire marshal, and of course the forensic the forensic results from our forensic medical examiner, and some of those tests won't come back for about 6 weeks.
And one other question, does Sharon Broadhead have any other type of record?
We're not going to discuss any type of previous record, Sharon Broadhead. We're right now focused on the investigation and the arrest that occurred yesterday, and right now that's where our concern is. And like I said, as soon as we finish the reports, we'll follow that DA's office, and the DA's office will be able to look at those charges and look at our report, and they can amend that as they see fit.
Once again, we'll keep you posted on the story. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.